So welcome to Sir Win's Accounting Lectures. Today, magkakaroon tayo ng pen and paper video problem solving patungkol sa Lecture 02, Investment in Associate Acquisition. Actually, nasa description ng video lecture na ito yung mismong problem under discussion. Kung gusto mong sagutan ng solo at balikan ang lecture na ito kapag tapos ka na, mas mabuti. Kasi ang accounting ay natututunan not by mere listening but by you doing the problem solving. Pero kung may sagot ka na nga, simulan na natin. So again, Lecture 02, Investment in Associates Acquisition. And here is our problem. At the beginning of the current year, Suave Company purchased 40% of the outstanding ordinary shares of Flawless Company, paying 6.4 million when the carrying amount of the net asset of Flawless Company equaled to 12.5 million. The difference was attributed to equipment which had a carrying amount of 3 million and a fair value of 5 million, and to building which had a carrying amount of 2.5 million and a fair value of 5 million. The remaining useful life of the equipment and building was 4 years and 12 years respectively. During the current year, Flawless Company reported net income of 8 million and paid cash dividends of 2.5 million. So here are our requirements. Prepare journal entries for the current year and determine the carrying amount of the investment in associate at the end of the current year. So first question, anong accounting method ang gagamitin natin dito? The answer is, we will use the equity method because the investment is treated as investment in associate. Equity method kung meron kang significant influence. Meron ba? Walang sinabi yung problem, pero kahit na, there is a refutable assumption na kung yung percentage of ownership mo ay mas mataas sa 20%, therefore you may use equity method of accounting. Gawin na lang po natin. So therefore, sabi, nag-invest siya nung beginning of the year. So on January 1, we debit investment in associates. Okay? And we credit cash. Nag-invest siya ng magkano? 6.4 million. So yan again, so we debit investment in associates for 6.4 million and we credit cash for the same amount, 6.4 million. After you record your investment, okay, tapos na sana, kaso may pinapakwenta. Gusto nating malaman dahil equity method nga ang ginagamit, kung yung bang ibinayad mo na 6.4 million ay kulang or sobra dun sa carrying amount dun sa net asset ng pinaglalagyan mo ng business. Okay? Ang ibig sabihin, gawin na lang po natin. Ayan. We have to compare yung ibinayad mo, yung acquisition cost, dun sa binibili mo. So, di ba ang ibinayad mo, 6.4 million. Ikukumpara yan dun sa binibili mo. So, therefore, that is the carrying amount. Carrying amount of net asset acquired. Okay, para nga malaman kung sobra ba yan or kulang. So, ang sabi dito, ang value nung ni-investee, 12.5 million. Pero syempre, hindi naman sa'yo lahat yan. 40% mo lang. So, times 0.4. So, 5 million. So, what have we observed? Okay, nagbayad ka ng 6.4 million sa binibili mo na 5 million. Therefore, there is what? An excess. Excess of cost over carrying amount. So again, bakit ka pumayag na magbayad ng mas mahal? 'Di ba ang difference ng dalawa? 6.4 million minus 5 million, the answer is 1.4 million. Bakit ka pumayag ng mas mataas? Pinapa-explain po 'yun, yung dahilan even though hindi nagre-reflect sa entry. Okay, kasi nga ang method na ginagamit natin ay equity method. Gustong alamin yung nangyari dun sa investment mo. Bakit ka nga ba nagbayad ng sobra? Anong mga dahilan? Okay, nasa second paragraph. Ang sabi dito, kasi nga yung record ni investee ay mababa. Kasi nga meron siyang mga asset na mas mataas yung fair value kaysa dun sa carrying amount. Therefore, kung sakaling ganon, yun yung dahilan kaya ka nagbayad ng mas sobra kasi yung kanilang record ay mababa. Okay, so ipinpoint na natin. Hindi ba't sinabi dito undervalued? Okay, undervalued yung ating yung investee na equipment. There is undervalued equipment. Magkano? Sabi dito, ang kanyang carrying amount ay 3 million pero ang fair value ay 5 million. Okay, again, 5 million minus 3 million. Kulang ang record ni investee ng 2 million. Okay, pero hindi lahat yan sa'yo. Dahil nga, 40% lang naman ang binibili mo. That's why 2 million times 40%, Kaya ka pala nagbayad ng mas mataas kasi kulang ang na-record na equipment sa point of view mo ng 800,000. At ganun din, kulang din yung building. So therefore, there is also an undervalued building. Kaya ka nagbayad ng sobra kasi meron ding building na undervalued. At ang sabi dito, ang kanyang fair value ay 5 million at ang kanyang recorded amount or carrying amount is 2.5 million. Kaya pala 2.5 million yung difference ng dalawa. Pero sa iyo ba lahat yung sobra, di ba? Hindi. Okay, but rather 40% mo lang dun. Kaya therefore, merong 1 million na kulang sa record sa point of view mo ng building. So nung ibig sabihin nun, by just looking without solving, di ba? Pag napansin nyo dito, pag di natin ginamitan ng calculator, ang sobrang ibinayad mo 1.4 million. Pero ang totoong kulang dun sa record nila, 1.8 dun yung dalawa. So actually, hindi ka sobrang ibinayad mo, kulang pa nga eh, di ba? Mukha lang mas mataas. Okay, kung sakaling ganon, walang goodwill. Kasi nga, hindi ka nagbayad ng sobra. So sakaling ganon, meron po tayong tinatawag na excess, actually, of fair value. Okay? Over cost. Kasi di ba, kinonvert na natin siya sa fair value. Okay, ang ibig kong sabihin, nagbayad ka ng 1.4 million kasi akala mo ay sobra-sobra yung binigay mo. Yun pala, kulang naman yung kanilang equipment at kulang din yung kanilang building. So, ang totoo, kulang pa nga ang ibinayad mo ng 400,000. Okay, so that is the excess. Ang kasunod na tanong ay, bakit naman pumayag si Investee na magbayad ka ng kulang kaysa dun sa fair value ng binibili mo? Okay? Maaaring ganito, kailangan din nila ng tulong o kaya binenta nila yung kanilang business, yung 40% doon at a bargain. Kaya therefore pumapayag sila na tumanggap na mas mababa kaysa doon sa kanyang fair value kasi kailangan lang tulong, malay mo magaling ka pati. Kaya therefore tumanggap sila ng mas mababang amount kaysa doon sa kanilang fair value. In this case, 400,000. May effect po ba yan doon sa nangyari noong January 1? Wala naman. Okay? Tumuloy na tayo. Okay, pinakita lang po natin yung iyong investment nagkakaroon talaga ng computation during the date of acquisition. Tumuloy na tayo. Noong December 31, nagkaroon ng income si Investee. Ang sabi dito, 8 million. Si Flawless, kumita ng 8 million. Ngayon, meron kang share doon kasi nga equity method of accounting, 40% mo doon. So, 3.2 million ang lalabas. There will be an entry, debit, investment, in associate. Okay? Amounting to 3.2 million. And there is a credit investment income. Ganon po kapag equity method of accounting, kahit hindi i-declare yung income, basta't mag-report sa income statement, may share ka na. Kasi nga equity method, may share ka, declared or not. Kaya ganyan ang naging entry. Okay, ang tanong, tama ba na yan yung dapat na i-report nila na income? Maaari pong may problema. Dahil nga, yung record naman na Investee ay hindi naka-fair value, but rather naka-carrying amount. Kaya yung mga undervalued equipment and building, hindi pa siya na-take into consideration dun sa reported income nila na 8 million. So, ibig ko sabihin, babawasan natin yung reported income mo. Kasi nga, again, okay, yung kanilang equipment, kulang yung naka-record. Naka-record lang sa kanila 3 million. Dapat talaga 5 million. Kung 5 million sana yan, hindi ba't dapat sana mas mataas ang depreciation? At kung mas mataas ang depreciation, hindi ba't sana mas mababa dapat yung income? Nangyari ba yun? Na-report ba yun? Di ba hindi? Kaya therefore, i-report natin siya sa pagkakataong ito. I-adjust natin yung reported net income mo. So therefore, magre-record ba tayo ng depreciation kasi kulang? Kasi nga, mas mataas yung kanyang fair value sa carrying amount. Magre-record ba tayo ng depreciation? The answer is no. Because we are not the investee. We are the investor. Ang gagawin lang natin, i-reflect lang natin yung effect ng kakulangan ng depreciation dun sa share mo sa net income ni associate. Okay? Ang ibig ko sabihin, babawasan mo na lang yung share mo na income. So, you debit investment income and you credit investment in associate. Okay? Ang tanong, magkano? Hindi ba? Sabi dito, okay, ang kakulangan ng equipment sa record nila ay 2 million pero 40% lang nun ang sayo. Kaya therefore, 800,000 mo lang talaga dun. So yan po yung ating i-amortize. Ito yung shortcut. tumingin ka na lang sa undervalued na equipment at i-allocate mo na lang yan doon sa kanyang useful life, which is 4 years. So 800,000 divided by 4 kasi nga beginning of the year naman. So that's why you debit investment income for 200,000 and you credit investment in associate for 200,000. Moreover, ganun din yung kwento ng building. So hindi ko na po uulitin yung mahabang paliwanag. We are going to debit investment income and we are going to credit investment in associate for the very same reason. Kasi yung record nila sa libro ay mas mababa kaysa dun sa fair value. That's why yung kanilang depreciation ay kulang. That's why yung net income nila is sobra. Ay dahil nga hinahabol natin, tinatama natin, yung share natin dun sa income na 3.2, sobra, babawasan natin kasi nga kulang ang depreciation, pero hindi mo i-reflect yung depreciation, but rather, yung effect na lang, yung reduction dun sa income. Sa halip na ipakita mo yung difference sa 2.5 million, hindi naman sa'yo lahat yun, di ba ang sa'yo lang dun yung 40% nun, yung 1 million. Kaya therefore, divide mo na rin yan kaagad sa 12. In short, ina-amortize natin yung napakita natin na effects. Ulitin ko, baka mali, 1 million divided by 12. Tama ba? May point. O sige, kung yan ang lumabas eh. So, 83,333.33. Okay, so ganun po yan. Ayan. So, na-correct na natin yung income. Pero may isa pa. I-recognize din natin yung kwinenta natin kanina. Diba? Ang nangyari, nabili natin ng mura. Kasi nga, sobra yung, meron ditong excess of fair value over cost. Ibig sabihin, mas mataas yung value ng binili natin kaysa sa ating ibinayad. Ano ang treatment dyan? The answer that is reported as an income on your side. Kasi nakabili ka at a bargain price. That's why may entry din po dyan sa 400,000 na yan. Okay? And the entry is simple. You are just simply going to debit the investment account. So again, we debit investment in associates and you are going to credit investment income because of that excess. Kasi income mo nga yan dahil nag-invest ka, di ba? For 400,000. Okay? Maaari po yung ma-record sa beginning of the year, pero usually sinasabay na po yan ending of the year para magkasama yung correction dun sa income natin. Kasi parang napasobra ka ng, napakulang ang ibinayad mo. So gusto na ma-record ang iyong investment really at fair value. Kaya therefore, dinadagdagan ng investment in associate at kumita ka kasi nga nakabili ka at a bargain price for 400,000. After that, lahat ng entry pertaining to investment income is already accounted for. Let's move on. May isa pang nangyari during the year. Nakatanggap ka din ng dividends. Okay? So that's why you are going to debit cash and credit in investment in associate. Ang dahilan, hindi mo income ang dividends. Kasi nga, equity method, may-ari ka na. I-declare at hindi, iyon naman talaga yun. Kaya pag nag-declare sila ng dividends, okay, nakakatanggap ka ng cash, totoo. 40% ng 2.5 million, 1 million. Pero hindi na nga siya income but rather reduction of your investment. Kasi as if parang napagsaulian ka dahil may dividends. Kasi nga ang method na ginagamit mo ay equity method. So yun na po yung ating entry. Okay, I believe tapos na yung entry during the current year. Now let's answer. How much is the carrying amount of your investment? So simple lang naman yan eh. Alamin natin yung ating beginning balance. Ang beginning balance o ang ating investment ay 6.4 million. Okay? Again, ito yung requirement number 1. Ito yung requirement number 2. Determine the balance of our investment account. Ito natin lagay sa gitna. So may beginning balance siya, 6.4 million. Hindi ba't merong income? Okay? Yung associate na pinag-investan mo. Magkano ba yung naging share natin doon? Di ba ang sabi dito, meron 3.2 million. Okay? Tapos, ikinorek natin. Nagbawas tayo ng 200,000 at nagbawas ulit tayo ng 83,333.33. Ayan. Pero nadagdagan ulit tayo ng 400,000. Okay? Kasi nga, yun na nga yung ating kulang na ibinayad, yung ating tubo. So, magkano talaga ang ating income during that year? 3,316,666.70. Okay? Tama ba yung math na yan? Ulitin ko nga, ulitan po, pasensya na para hindi ako ganun kakomportable dun sa pinindot ko. May 3.2 million tayo, nabawasan ng 200,000, therefore naging na siyang 3 million. Nabawasan ng 83,333.33 at nadagdagan ng ng 400,000. So, plus 400,000. Okay, so that is, yan. So, 3,316,000 kay 0.70. Siguro dahil hindi kaya nung calculator ko yung point na 33. Ay, okay lang naman yun. Hayaan nyo na. Basta i-recompute nyo na lang kung may decimal na error. Okay? Tapos, di ba meron dividends? So, the dividends is a reduction in the investment. That is 1 million. So, ima-minus natin yung 1 million. For us to determine the carrying amount of investment in associate at year-end. Okay, December 31. So, solve na po natin. 6,400,000. Okay. Plus, yung share mo dun sa correct net income, 3,316,666.70. At babawasan nyo ng 1 million. Ay, shucks. Ulit last na. 6.4 million plus 3,316,666.70 minus 1 million. Kahit alam ko talaga ang sagot, tinatype ko pa rin. 8,716,666.70. Okay, that will be the balance of our investment. Simple lang naman yung second requirement, di ba? ATT account mo lang yung investment in associate account. Okay, sana may natutunan ka. So yun lamang at maraming salamat.